Number 15, 2 Nigerians sentenced for drug trafficking. This happened in the Free State province. On the 8th of January 2019, a member of the Bethlehem SAPS who was reacting to information provided by concerned residents visited a house on the busy De Villiers Street where he recovered sachets of cat drug and cash. Upon searching the suspected drug dealer, a Nigerian, Okudwili Augustine Nwabo, who goes by the name of CJ. On the 23rd of June 2021, a member of the Bloemfontein anti-gang unit who was posted in Bethlehem received information about a vehicle transporting drugs. He cornered a vehicle fitting the description at a filling station and confronted the driver. The driver, CJ, offered him money to look the other way. CJ was immediately arrested for corruption. He was found guilty and sentenced on the 2nd of July 2024 for dealing in drugs and corruption by the Bethlehem Magistrates Court. On a charge of dealing in drugs, the court sentenced CJ to 7 years imprisonment, of which 2 years is suspended for 5 years, while on corruption, he was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. The two sentences will run consecutively, which means an effective 8 years imprisonment. In addition, the accused was declared unfit to possess a firearm. In another case, on the 6th of September 2022, a member of the Bethlehem Stock Theft and Endangered Species Unit received information from a concerned resident about a male carrying suspicious black plastic bags. The officer moved swiftly to locate the suspect, a Nigerian, Linus Obume Uchegu, 47 years, and also known as China. A search of the black plastic bag was conducted, which led to the discovery of a Nestle Cremora coffee creamer's box. Several sachets of crystal meth were found hidden between the powdered milk bags. He was immediately arrested. Later, during the investigation, case docket relating to similar arrest or investigation were given to the Serious Organized Crime in Bethlehem for further investigation. On the 5th of July 2024, the Bethlehem Magistrate Court sentenced Uchegu to 15 years imprisonment for possession and dealing in drugs.
Hey gang, welcome to Mzansi USA News. You know, this is really concerning. Nigerians are in our country to destroy our country from within. Let nobody tell you otherwise. First and foremost, they are not asylum seekers. They are not refugees. They are not running from any war. There is no problem in their country. They come to our country and sing from the same hymn sheet with Zimbabweans, telling us how South Africans are lazy, right? But yet their economy is collapsing. If they were not lazy and they were entrepreneurs as they claim to be, of course, we all know that that is just nothing but fronting for the powder. This includes even the churches that they set up. Can you imagine that? What manner of wickedness must have embroiled these individuals to find themselves in a position where they will use a church for fronting to practice their malevolence? Unbelievable. Check this out.
In July of 2024, a man named as Joaquin Mbonu was arrested in Nigeria after running away from South Africa. Why? He was identified to be a drug lord who was part of a major drug cartel behind the production and distribution of methamphetamines. Mbonu had escaped from South Africa, where he lived for years, and mastered the art of cooking methamphetamine after he came under investigation for drug dealings.
Did you guys see that this self-proclaimed entrepreneur was majoring in cooking up drugs, and he mastered the art of cooking drugs whilst he was in our country? Look at this, gentleman, if I'm not doing disservice to the word gentleman by calling him that. Look at him. He, according to the report, he stayed in South Africa for years. You can imagine how many lives has he ruined. And then when the police were on to him, he ran to Nigeria. As uncivilized as their government is, they didn't even bother to send the guy back to South Africa for him to face the criminal justice, right? Nevertheless, check this out.
South Africa, known for its diverse culture and rich history, is also facing a growing challenge, one that is rooted beyond its borders. In recent years, Nigerian crime syndicates have gained a formidable foothold in the country's major cities like Johannesburg, Pretoria, Durban, and Cape Town, transforming the criminal landscape. But how did this happen? And what does it mean for the future of South Africa? The roots of Nigerian crime syndicates in South Africa can be traced back to the late 1980s and early 1990s. After the fall of apartheid in 1994, South Africa became a popular destination for Nigerians looking to leave Nigeria, with gangs soon rising to prominence on the local crime scene. All of this happened while Nigeria was facing its own challenges that included political instability and economic downturns. As a result, many Nigerians migrated to South Africa in search of better opportunities. However, with limited economic prospects, some turned to illicit activities to survive. Firstly, they specialized in cocaine. Their portfolio later diversified. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Nigerian crime syndicates had established themselves in major South African cities, particularly in Johannesburg, Durban, and Cape Town. These groups became heavily involved in drug trafficking, primarily dealing in heroin and cocaine, as well as human trafficking, fraud, and money laundering. Their operations are sophisticated and often involve collaboration with local criminal networks, making them difficult for law enforcement to dismantle. Take the case of Ponty City, otherwise known as the Vodacom building that's near Hillbrow in Johannesburg. This was once a desirable and sought-after apartment building with beautiful views overlooking the city, its own mall, and even a bowling alley. But as Hillbrow became more crime-infested, people moved out, and it had become a drug-infested building where brothels ran by Nigerian pimps and addicts occupied the space. It became a place where you could buy anything from heroin to stolen guns, thanks to the new landlords who hijacked the building, which were the Nigerian mafia. The conditions in that building went from bad to worse, as people would get high, and some of them jumping from high floors straight to the ground, ending their own lives.
There was no control, and most of the buildings started to deteriorate, and the buildings started to become havens of criminals.
Nigerians, 90% bishalala bonga Nigerians. Those Nigerians, they are drugs, prostitute, yongi into nje enzeke hell.
Hillbrow was a stronghold of the Nigerian mafias for decades, and their presence can still be felt in the streets. In fact, to this day, old apartment buildings are still being hijacked by local gangs working with Nigerian mafias, and residents are made to pay ridiculous amounts of money for rent. The rise of Nigerian crime syndicates has had a profound impact on South African communities. Drug addiction rates have soared, particularly among the youth.
Did you guys hear all of that? Does it sound as though these individuals have come here to build? Does it sound as though these individuals have come here to contribute towards our fiscus through tax paying? Does it sound as though this type of behavior is a behavior we should be tolerating as citizens? Why is our government allowing this? Now, of course, you have loose cannons like Julius Malema, who are on record saying that we ought to document, meaning regularize these individuals. But how do you regularize people who have committed a crime? And he falsely believes that because they are already here, therefore we should regularize them. Well, that is illogical. What do I mean? These individuals are selling all the white powder that you see on the screen there. Does it then mean our government should make that white powder legal? As far as Julius Malema's logical explanation is concerned, that because these people are already here, let's regularize them and give them documents, that's precisely what he means. So it's no different than the folly that I heard from Thabo Mbeki a few weeks ago to say, because we take these people to the border and they come back the following day, we take them to the border, they come back to the following day. Therefore, there's no need for us to do that. Let's simply regularize them. No, 1,000 times no, that doesn't make sense. Look at the carnage these people are costing this country. Look at the havoc they are causing this country, right? Everywhere you meet them, there is filth. Look at how that they've turned decent, beautiful cities and areas like Krugersdorp, like Randburg CBD, like Port Elizabeth CBD, like Kempton Park, you name it. Wherever they are found, they turn the area into slum. Look at what you are seeing right now in front of you. This seems to be their sports, their favorite pastime. What you are seeing on your screen is the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the agency's history in Nigeria. And this is directly related and linked to the gentleman who ran away from South Africa and was caught in Nigeria. Can you imagine that? So does this sound as though people who can do this
human trafficking and rape in the South Gauteng? 2 Nigerian nationals are on trial for kidnapping, human trafficking and rape in the South Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg. The pair are believed to be part of a syndicate, and please be aware that some of the following visuals are graphic.
With most human trafficking cases, the modus operandi is the same. In this matter, the victim was lured with the promise of employment in Gauteng. She was held captive at the alleged perpetrator's home and sexually exploited. A crime that preys on the vulnerable and desperate. The victim, one of several recruited from an impoverished community in Uppington in the Northern Cape. 23-year-olds Frank Anako and his co-accused Ilo Samadino, the alleged traffickers. Anako insists, though, he is innocent and maintains his roommate Jerry, who is still at large, was the mastermind.
I gave them the phone number of Jerry. Secondly, when we got to the police, I told them, please, can we wait a little bit and go back to the house and keep quiet for some time, that Jerry...
Now, you tell me, why were the police supposed to listen to a criminal? Frank Anako is a criminal. He's not a law-abiding citizen. But did you hear what they were doing to this girl? They lured her all the way from the Northern Cape, pretending that they are going to offer her a job. Literally prying, taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities. Now, who needs enemies if you've got brethren like that? We keep on calling these people brothers, brothers, brothers. Julius Malema and all his cronies who are pushing the Pan-Africanist ideology down our throats, this is what they call brotherhood. Who needs enemies with brothers like this, who are going to take our children and rape them repeatedly, over and over again? Listen to this.
Will come in. But I told the police, but they refused.
During a month-long ordeal, she was allegedly drugged and repeatedly raped. The 21-year-old's services were advertised on...
Did you guys hear that? They took an innocent girl, turned her into a drug addict by dragging her for a period of a month and raping her multiple times, thereby completely altering her life's path, right? And not only that, observe that, they are now forcing her into prostitution. Why? Because remember, now she's become a drug addict based on the fact that they forced her to take drugs. This is not the first nor the last incident involving these individuals in our country. What are we to do with these people? Check this out.
The Pretoria High Court has sentenced the Nigerian national Jude Ikenna from Centurion to life imprisonment. Now he is to serve 2 life terms for 2 counts of human trafficking, 2 life terms for 2 counts of rape, 6 years direct imprisonment for 2 counts of keeping a brothel, 10 years direct imprisonment for using services of a victim of trafficking, and 2 years direct imprisonment for being illegal in the country. The court ordered that his name be added to the National Register of Sexual Offenders. Ijegulu was running a brothel with his partner Botas and in Centurion when he fetched a 26-year-old complainant in the matter from Rustenburg, where she was held captive and supplied with drugs by unknown Nigerian nationals.
Did you guys hear that? He went and bought this girl from Rustenburg, that is Ijegulu, from Rustenburg, from other Nigerians. So Nigerians have made it their business. Now they have a system in the country. As you saw right at the beginning of the video, they operate from Cape Town, they operate from KZN, that is Durban, they operate from here in Gauteng. But obviously, clearly, Rustenburg is not in Gauteng, right? It's just on the border of Gauteng. So they have Nigerians operating in Rustenburg who have a syndicate that buys and sells girls and literally drugs them. So this Ijegulu went and bought this girl from there, drugged her, and this story, by the way, you can check it out. There is a newspaper article which you can read on this story. Drugged her, and not only that, raped her multiple times. This story is no different from Frank Anaku's story. Guys, I can give you a story after a story after a story of this nature that pertains to Nigerians in our country. So when you begin to see the challenges that they are faced with in their country, you know, for an example, we have embraced these individuals in our country because of the spirit of Ubuntu. Right? And they clearly have taken advantage of that. And clearly they are very malevolent individuals by their nature. I did a video a day or two ago, in fact, a few days ago, that talks about how much racist or tribalist Nigerians towards each other are. Who are we? We are not related to them. Who are we? How much more will they be? How much more will their malevolence, viciousness be manifested when it comes to us as South Africans? My fellow countrymen, I appeal to you. Wake up. Let's come together. Let's decide what is it that we are going to do to pressurize our government. Observe, all these individuals are here illegally. What benefit is to the ANC government keeping individuals that are not documented in our country? I think it would be appropriate, and you will tell me in the comments down below what you think. I think it would be appropriate that all visas, all permits granted to all foreign nationals, particularly these ones, Nigerians and Zimbabweans, be audited, because I strongly believe that these individuals are here to destroy our country. I'll make a separate video about Zimbabweans. I don't want to steal limelight from Nigerians. These individuals are here to destroy our country. I've just given you evidence right now. And I think that if we are faced with a situation where 95% of them are having churches fronting, using churches, the word of God, to front for their malevolence, can you imagine how wicked must you be to do something like that? These individuals are very, 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 very wicked. They use a church to front. They will use anything to create including a sacred thing like marriage. You don't believe me? Check this out.
Dr. Anthony Okenwafo is charged with corruption and illegal immigration. The South African Department of Home Affairs says he is unlawfully in possession of dual citizenship, South African and Nigerian, and had tried to bribe an officer, Mr. Bernard Mabidla, investigating him with 50,000 rand.
No,
this case is all about vengeance. I defeated the Department of Health Limpopo in a case of dismissal, unfair dismissal. And after that, the man who caused my unfair dismissal, I think, is being dealt with. And then he's now placing all...
So what do you want the government to do?
No, the government should come in because my 14 Nigerian passports are being confiscated by Mr. Mabitla, who was for Home Affairs here. And I must say, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure he has the authority to do that.
In cross-examining the applicant, the prosecutor, Melville Mashaba, raised issues of his dual citizenship, questioned the different spellings of his name on the various documents seized, his real date of birth, to which an affidavit was presented, as well as his previous marriage to a South African. Dr. Wafa's wife, Amara, a pharmacist, was also held alongside her husband, but was freed a few days later and charges against her dropped, but her Nigerian passport is yet to be released.
I see what's going on here as xenophobic prosecution, and I also see it as white-collar xenophobia.
Did you guys hear that? White-collar xenophobia. But did you hear that the gentleman was married to a South African? So this is his wife from Nigeria that you see on the screen. He got married to this woman 2 months before he got married to the South African woman. So he left this woman in Nigeria. And when he got here, he married an underage girl. You can read the story. There is an article concerning the story. He married an underage girl, right? And then what did he do? You see, because remember what I said, why I showed you this video, that they don't even have regard for something as sacred as marriage. They will use marriage for their convenience, anything for their expediency. Okay? Remember, these are people who sell other human beings, who traffic other human beings, who make drug addicts, who make prostitutes out of innocent people, who kidnap, because remember, taking a girl who came looking for work and you keep her drugged for the whole month, that's kidnapping. Can you imagine that? And I have not only showed you one example of this. So Nigerians are into peddling drugs, kidnapping human beings. Of course, they are into cash heists. I have not showed you this because I don't intend to make an elongated video. They are into fake marriages so that they can get a South African visa and South African passport. One of the things against this guy is that he is alleged to have citizenship of both South African and Nigerian. Well, South African citizenship has since been revoked. He bribed an officer of the law. Right now, as we speak, he is in jail. He's been sentenced for 4 solid years for bribing an officer of the law, right? Once the Department of Home Affairs identified that he had been married to a South African woman for the purposes of gaining citizenship or residency, then they recognized that, okay, he's up to no good. Then there was a further investigation. This supports directly, and he's not the only one, the theory that I have, that they will do whatsoever it takes. That is why I want to say to South African women, there is enough men in South Africa. Quit your nonsense whilst you are ahead. Because I didn't make this video to address South African women, I'll address you at a specific time in a separate video. But quit whilst you are ahead, because there is evidence of how that you are dragging our country down by the fact that you are drawn to loose moral, malevolent individuals because of your love of money. And that is not a wonder for those of us who read the scripture. Why? Because the love of money is the root of all evil. Coming back then to the story at hand. Can you see, good people, how wicked these people are? Listen to the one who's talking about white collar xenophobia. Does any of you know what that is? I'm completely clueless. Completely clueless what white collar xenophobia is. Please, if any of you do know, put it on the screen. But ultimately, in conclusion, I hope I have, without belaboring the point, adequately presented to you why I believe Nigerians are here to destroy South Africa from within. These people are very evil, extremely evil. By far, majority of Nigerians are in South Africa illegally. Those who are here legally, can you imagine their temerity, that they are quiet? They are not calling out their fellow countrymen. Why? How can you enjoy such grace, such humility, such infrastructure, such peace, and you don't speak up? You yourself are a hypocrite. Okay, guys, let me love you and leave you. Until the next video, thank you for watching, and thanks to Amagana for these receipts. Much appreciated. All the excerpts that I've used, I give credit to you, even though she did say to me I could use these. Nevertheless, I'm still grateful and thankful for the content that she creates, because it assists me to receive videos I would otherwise not be able to see, because I'm not in that close proximity to Nigeria to know some of the things that are happening there. Okay, let me love you and leave you until the next video. Please like the video, and if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And for those who already have, thank you very much for subscribing. Let's keep the channel growing. Bye for now.